lagi di video reaction saya kali ini guys, oke? Mudah-mudahan semuanya sehat selalu. Nah, kali ini saya mau tengok video pembahasan tentang ini ya. Buat Eropa surprise, Indonesia siap kirim pasukan penjaga ke Ukraina. Tapi Indonesia itu memang aktif gitu ya, dan bertugas sebagai pasukan perdamaian dunia ini. Memang sangat aktif ya, bertugas di Lebanon, di Kongo, dan banyak negara lain lagi gitu ya, yang mana Indonesia bertugas sebagai pasukan perdamaian dunia. So, jangan lama-lama lagi, mari sama-sama tengok video ini. Let's go.
And I would like to declare at this present moment that Indonesia is prepared to contribute military observers and military units under the peacekeeping auspices of the United Nations.
Dialogue in Bahrain. Minister Prabowo also attended the first IISS Riyadh Defense Forum on March 5, 2022. But may we first begin with Minister Prabowo. The floor and that podium is yours. Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you, Dr. Chipman. Minister Prabowo, I have a similar question about Myanmar. President Jokowi said earlier this year that Indonesia had a particular history that it could share with Myanmar's generals about its transition to democracy.
I'd like to ask you, Minister, why didn't you address the Russian aggression, that this was the only reason?
Please, our European friends, please ask them how many times they've been invaded. Ask our Vietnamese friends how many times we have been invaded. Ask Indonesians how many times we have been invaded. We know war, the conflict in Europe. That is Ukraine-Russian conflict. I address this because I see many of our European friends present here in this forum. Yes, the Shangri-La dialogue has been in the past focused primarily on the Indo-Pacific region. But the presence of so many of our friends from Europe testify to the fact that security in the Indo-Pacific is affected by security and the situation in Europe, and vice versa. As I said, our planet has become smaller. What happens in Ukraine affects the livelihood of all the peoples of the world. The price of energy has gone up. The price of food has gone up. This has resulted in much suffering for many peoples of the world. Therefore, I would like to put forward the proposition that is not out of context for us to try to contribute to the resolution of the Ukraine-Russia conflict. I therefore would like to take this opportunity to urge, to recommend with utmost urgency for our brothers in Ukraine and in Russia to come as soon as possible to a cessation of hostilities. I propose that the Shangri-La dialogue find a mode of declaration urging both Ukraine and Russia to immediately start negotiations for peace. This declaration should be voluntary from all participants here representing their various countries. But I propose the general outline of the peace plan as follows. First, a ceasefire in place. That is, a cessation of hostilities in place at the present positions of both conflicting parties. Two, withdrawal 15 kilometers each from their forward positions to a new demilitarized zone. Three, the United Nations monitoring and observer force to be immediately formed and to be immediately deployed along this new demilitarized zone. Five, the United Nations should organize, carry out, and execute a referendum in the disputed territories to ascertain objectively
jadi PBB
the wish
juga ini digesak
of the
juga
majority
ya,
of the
supaya ada
inhabitants
penyelesaian
of the
gitu.
various disputed areas. And I would like to declare at this present moment that Indonesia is prepared to contribute military
Siap
observers
untuk
and
berkontribusi
military
ya.
units under the peacekeeping auspices of the United Nations. These steps, I think, has proven in history to be effective. Let us not here put blame on any side. There are always two versions to any conflict. Both
Nah,
sides
itu dia.
feel strongly of their righteousness. But for the security
Menhan Prabowo.
of the world, for the safety of the innocent, we have to achieve cessation of hostilities as soon as possible. I refer to historical examples. In Korea, a big and massive conflict was resolved by a cessation of hostilities and a demilitarized zone. Yes, the conflict in Korea has still to be resolved permanently. However, for at least 5 decades, we have had some sort of peace, which is much better than
Ya, dari penghancuran
massive
besar-besaran,
destruction
yes.
and the killings
Dan juga
of many
rakyat-rakyat yang
innocent
tidak
people.
bersalah pun kena gitu kan dari perang dan
Distinguished
yang
participants,
lain-lain gitu.
I do not know if my proposals can be accepted, but at least let us try to put forward some concrete recommendations so that meetings like the Shangri-La dialogue will have more substance
Dialog
more
Shangri-La
meaning,
ya.
and can prove to be a platform that can contribute to the diffusion and de-escalation of armed conflict. Once again, because our planet has become smaller, it is more imperative for us to achieve peace. Thank you.
Oke. Oke guys, jadi tadi ya videonya ini ya. Jadi Menhan Prabowo ini mengatakan bahwa Indonesia siap untuk mengirimkan ya pasukan perdamaian dunia ke Ukraina, sebab sampai sekarang pun memang masih bergejolak gitu ya di Ukraina gitu. Nah ini menunjukkan memang Indonesia tuh sangat berkomited gitu ya, sangat komit untuk segera mencari perdamaian lah gitu, sebab memang semua satu dunia kena dampaknya gitu ya daripada perang Rusia Ukraina ini. Dan sampai beliau pun mengusulkan supaya segera mencari penyelesaian PBB dan juga menghantar nih, siap untuk menghantar gitu kan pasukan perdamaian dunia dari Indonesia gitu. Wah, terbaiklah. So, terima kasih banyak sebab kamu sudah menonton video ini. Jangan lupa macam biasa untuk support channel saya dengan subscribe, like video ini, dan jangan lupa untuk komen juga, oke? Terima kasih banyak dan kita jumpa lagi di video seterusnya. Assalamualaikum.